This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all it counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here we have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much. I did not try to fight Cam Newton this weekend.
Yeah, you came out ahead, and you up there too. That was Atlanta, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
If I see a 6'5", 250-pound man with dreadlocks and a form-fitting hat that's around them, I think I'm gonna steer clear of that.
Yeah,
Cam Newton in the G1 in the comments.
So I was talking to my brother Daniel, and I didn't see who all was, tried to do the jumping of Cam Newton, but he told me that like it was at his 7-on-7 camp that he's ran for years. Whatever. I was like, okay, so it was kids. He's like, yeah, it was kids. From what I could tell, them wasn't no kids. He was out there one man army, standing against 5, and stood his own until security showed up to break it up. Yeah, man. Do not run up on we all know, but like just so people to give you a reminder of what Cam Newton is and was, if you will, because he obviously he's still in shape and he's only 34, 35. No, he might be 33 or 34, right? Cam Newton won a national championship at Auburn, and he didn't have a single offensive player on his teammate get drafted. I'm going to repeat that. Cam Newton at Auburn won a national championship, and he didn't have a single offensive teammate get drafted in the NFL. We are talking about a dude that was in the SEC crushing linebackers, right? Like, we're talking about a dude that won an NFL MVP crushing linebackers. Like, the term "man amongst boys," that kind of applies to Cameron Jarrell Newton, right? Like, the first mistake was thinking you're gonna run up on an ex-NFL dude that's the size of a defensive end. I understand you say, oh, he had he wore the 2 and everything, or he had the 1 or the 2, and he wore 1 at Auburn. He wore 2 at or whatever. No, he wore 2 at Auburn, or 1 at in NFL. Like, I get it. He's a quarterback. Is the blah blah blah. He's no man. That man is a battering ram. And the reason why he's not in the NFL still to this day is because he was a battering ram for over a decade. And much like running backs, the tread on the tires gets real thin, and where you start seeing the wires after a while. But don't let you think that like just because he is no longer at his prime as an athlete in the NFL, is not thinking that he amongst mere mortals he will not draggeth thee. And yeah, man. I don't know what they thought they was gonna do, but Cam made sure to like whatever you're gonna try to do, it ain't gonna work because by the time security get here, I will have thrown some of y'all some which way about. Y'all might get 1 or 2 licks in, but I'm gonna eat it because y'all normal mere mortals, and you ain't no 270-pound dude that bench 400 pounds punching me. You're just a regular fucking guy that clocks in and out like everyone else.
Shoot Irish whip out here on these boys.
Yeah.
Funny comments. So R.I.P. Ole Anderson. Out of all of the races in wrestling, he was up there, but as an all-time hater. Cam Newton, Super New Japan, New Super Gaijin. Cam Newton dressed like he's out here from Black Sabre Jr. Cam Newton is out here dressed like he's ready to sell his opposition. Money's him. Cam Newton versus Jeff Cobb, 4.5 stars. Brewhaven. Cam Newton should take David Finley's spot. Cam versus the Bloodline. RJ Stagg. TK was trying to recruit Cam on YouTube in an interview a couple weeks ago. I saw that. I did.
Look, 6'5", stereotypically handsome, big bright smile, very charismatic, great physique. I don't know why WWE or AEW hasn't tried to get him in. You know, we talked about this before. Is like they always talk about what they want out of these football-like players, and I look around and I see all these people that don't make it to the NFL. I'm like, there's got to be like a dozen of them just in the state of Florida between every year that don't make it to the league that comes out of Florida, Miami, and Florida State. So I don't get why like they don't just go to every SEC campus for kids that look the part but aren't making it to the league and say, come here. I don't get it. But Cam is like, he has a name notoriety of being one of the most famous athletes in the world or in the country. So you got that. And also he can easily play heel because people hate him. People haven't liked him since 2010.
I never got that. Like, bro, I've always liked
people
Cam.
People thought he was, you know, he got over on one and the whole thing, and then the Susan Noon thing happened and all that kind of stuff, and you know, tis. How dare these people make money off their name, image, and likeness?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Got to clear something up. So, Tonal Talk, I was made aware that none of you have seen the Rocky films, and all I just have is one question for you ladies. Do you want to be on the same side as CM Punk? It's really quite simple.
I don't think it's going to sell them on a sports movie.
You can correct that, or you can continue to stand with Phil Brooks. And I know y'all don't want to do that.
This is nasty.
Just the first thing I thought of. I was like, I don't associate Tonal Talk with Phil Brooks, so
look, you're going to say that or whatever else, but I think there are other things politically that they would stay in line with Phil Brooks, even though he's an asshole. So I don't think it's one of those, you know.
We just talking about Rocky.
The worst person you know has made a good point or whatever. Or you know, so you can't really be using that as a way to influence people in trolling them into, you know, watching movies they don't want to watch. Look, they've been around on Earth. I
don't know if they don't want to watch it. They just ain't seen it.
We do know they've been. How old are all of them? Don't answer that. How old are all of them? I don't know. They're all of them are old enough to have known about to be aware of the Rocky movies, and yet they have never had the curiosity to go see them. They ain't finna go watch the movies.
I'm telling you, maybe they just ain't never thought about it like that.
That
they was on the same side as CM Punk. So ladies, listen to your boy. Y'all decide who you with.
Wow.
But yeah, compelling argument. But so lots and lots of stuff to get to today, man. We got Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards.
Yeah.
James watched Elimination Chamber. God bless him.
I also watched. I cherry picked parts of New Beginning in Sapporo, nights 1 and 2. We didn't see too much of night 1 because some of the results and some of the decisions and some of the reviews I saw, it was like, this is on that show. Sorry, night 2 is where it's at though. In the undercard.
It was
the
just,
mid-card.
You know, I saw a New Beginning. I started seeing them results. I was like, you know what? It's not for me, you know?
I saw some of the results. I was like, anniversary show, New Japan Cup. How do you go get, you know, some of the decisions are like, all right, sometimes you got to, you know, get some heat to, you know, get the good upspring. And then I see the layout for NJ Cup, and I'm like, it's a real low ceiling. It's a real low ceiling these days. But we'll get to it. Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. So
Overall, when I saw them, you know, how Dave had been talking and some of the kind of general sentiment that was around, one was led to believe this was about to be some WWE sweep job, just a complete reshuffling of the critical acclaim in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. I gotta say, James, much in the way of the 2022 primary, the red wave did not come.
Wow. Luckily, that red is one of the primary curves for WWE, so you can actually use that, and also, you know, their political meetings. But I was unaware of how people were handicapping this race or the narrative around these awards. So was it just mostly Meltzer, like when he does the, you know, the normal handicapping of his awards, and then people, you know, basically be like, whatever, Dave, we're going to vote for whoever we vote for? Was it one of those? Because, you know, he does that where he basically, like, from where his perspective is on it, he talks about, he kind of previews the awards.
He talks about it like with Garrett and with Brian and all that stuff.
Right.
And,
so was it that, or was it just more than that? Was it just basically like, you know, looking online, people being like, yeah, you know, the tide has turned, even though every single year the people that will say that kind of thing, which sounds weird why they would say this thing, have for years said this thing was bought and paid for by Tony Khan and Dave Meltzer in cahoots, and never really know the process that, like, these aren't nominated. This is like the voters fill in who they want, and then Meltzer just tabulates the shit.
Every time, like, there was a lot of, like, AEW award wins on here where Dave would just kind of sideswipe a little bit. Like, there's something that's changed. AEW did not even acknowledge most of the awards this year that they got.
They ain't one of the ones they wanted.
Even the ones that they won.
No, but you get my point. Tony Khan loves to run that fucking tweet out with that picture of him on it, so he book of the year. Not this year. Not this year.
Which, if you look at, like, a lot of these awards, like, there's so much, like, crossing up of shit that doesn't make sense, and you know, like, yeah, best booker Paul Levesque, and then you look at best show of the year, like, you get like 6 or 7 AEW pay-per-views on there. Best weekly television show, Collision or Dynamite and Collision 1 and 2.
Yep.
Worst show of the year, like Raw's number 2. So, like, it's all fucking like,
yeah, but you know how that
it's all mixed up.
Right. But you know how that is when it comes to WWE, when it comes to these worst things that make people lose their minds all the time. It's like, yes, WWE is going to be worse because more people watch that more than anything else. So when they see the worst thing, or when it's worse, most people are going to think of the thing they saw on WWE because more people watch it than anything else. So, like, that's why you see the split of, you know, most or best wrestler, worst wrestler, best show, worst show. It's always be a huge split. It always happens. But people always break their brains and try to figure it out. It's like, nah, man, it's simple math. Like, we were just talking about this last week as far as, like, black wrestling fans. Most of the fandom for pro wrestling that are black is going to be in WWE because the history, the prestige, the you know, 60-year head start and all that kind of stuff. Like, WWE is going to have that for the vote, for the fan voting, because most people that are going to watch pro wrestling in America are going to watch WWE. I don't know, but, you know, online breaks brains.
So, Wrestler of the Year award. This one actually ended up going to Will Ospreay. That's your Ric Flair Wrestler of the Year. So that's, like, you know, your overall Wrestler of the Year award.
Yep.
And I think that was that's who I would have voted for. Was Will. The other argument would have been Cody, and he finished number 2. I can't really get, you know, too upset about this one at all. MJF finished 3rd. But Will, like,
yikes.
You know, he's sensational, man. Like, and, you know, normally people want to give this to some long reigning world champion or somebody that's a draw, and they just, like, they don't think about the wrestling aspect of this at all.
Right.
But Will Ospreay took 2023 and shoved that up everyone's ass because he did the double dip. He also got most outstanding wrestler, which was well earned. So, like, this was like, I saw Will get both of those, and I was like, let's go. This is the 3rd time he's won most outstanding wrestler, and his age 30 year was quite frankly absolutely sensational.
This is only the 3rd time he's ever won it?
Yeah.
Who won last year?
Most outstanding was Will.
And the only other time he ever won it was 2019?
Correct.
Huh. Who won in 2022? I'm sorry, 2021 is what I mean.
Shingo.
Oh, yeah, because he broke his neck or had a neck injury. That's right. Okay, that's what I'm missing. Okay.
But yeah, man, I can't argue with any of these. I think that's awesome for Will and Cody Rhodes. I think made a good showing of himself too. I think he's clearly the biggest star in WWE.
Yep.
He's the one that's moving the shit forward.
He's there he's the one that's there almost every week.
Yep.
All right. Even while that being said,
if he wins the title at WrestleMania and holds that bitch for most of the year, he wins. He walks the Flair Thez. I
think so too. So my question for you is this, right? I'm looking at number 3 and 4. MJF basically beat Roman Reigns by less than 30 points, right?
Yep.
And Roman has 26 more first place votes. On your ballot, who do you have higher? Let me phrase that. If the ballot was as long as it took to get those two on there, who was higher?
I think I would have put Roman Reigns higher.
Same.
Online.
That's why I asked, because I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I know, you can say what you want to about Roman not being around, but Roman's lows, even while I hate his matches, and most people do, like, the television isn't as like bad, and just be like, hey, bro, we want you just like go somewhere and don't come back. And it's like, oh, you're injured? That's unfortunate. Don't rush to come back.
Take your time.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah, so, yeah, that's one of those. Danielson at 5, a distant 5. Mystico is a distant 6. Makes me want to go back and see exactly what Mystico did in CMLL, because CMLL has had a bounce back, almost 2 years at this point, a year and a half. So, and he's been at the forefront of it. Mystico in front of Seth Rollins. Woo, that is...
Seth Rollins has had a fake belt all year, couldn't manage it higher than 7th, beat everyone on the roster damn near except Roman Reigns, and, just doesn't finish that much higher than Tam Nakano, for instance.
Now, the part that's funny about Tam is how many months?
At least 2.
She missed 2. She missed 3, basically 3 months. She missed the last 3 months of the year, right? And then got we're not going to defend the red belt this year. We're just only going to defend the red belt. How many red belt defenses were there this year before Tam got hurt? There was the 3 from Julia, the double title match, and then the match where she got hurt. I think there were 5 red belt defenses all year in Stardom. That's awful. Obviously, that's a byproduct of Tam getting hurt to some extent, but it's also like, Ross getting fucked with. So yeah, man, like, that's the kind of year that Tam Nakano had, and she was still, competing with Seth Rollins. Oh, that boy, covered in mud.
So most outstanding was second was Bryan Danielson, third Kenny Omega, fourth Zack Sabre Jr., 5 Kento Miyahara, 6 Gunther, 7 Kazuchika Okada, Shingo, Orange Cassidy, and Mike Bailey. Lots of great workers there.
Yeah. I wonder if we go
back. Where was
Seth
Rollins?
He's 13th in honorable mention.
Competing with the likes of Eddie Kingston,
who missed a bunch of time.
Bingo.
A bunch of time. Right. Also quite telling, as I mentioned about the year that Stardom had with like just a fuck up at the top of the red belt, that like there's not a single Stardom wrestler in that they even got close to enough votes to be an honorable mention. Which is sad. After, the last since 2020.
Sure, he put in jail
Yep, Shuri put in jail, Mayu put in jail, Julia put in jail. Honestly, Julia should be on here, but she was a top belt, so people don't look at it that way. Whatever. It's sad for me, but yeah, just MJF fronted Seth Rollins after. That is funny. Oh man. All right. So
Tag team of the year. FTR wins 2,341 points. Number 2, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. 3, Bishamon. 4, Takuya Nomura, Fu Minori Abe. I believe they go by the Astronauts. And then number 5, the Young Bucks, and a pretty down year. And then Aussie Open. This was supposed to be Aussie Open's award until they got injured.
It would have been, yeah. It would have been.
Besides that,
but then again, it's
down year.
Then again, it might have still been FTR because they would have been working with him again. Obviously, they worked with each other during the Royal Quest stuff a few years ago. But they would have brought that in again. So they would have both been up there. I'm just looking at like number 2 being Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and being like, yo, this was a really bad year worldwide for tag team wrestling. Like, injury bug struck Onopoi in Stardom. And then you look around and you're like, all right, honorable mention, you got the Never Openweight Trios champions Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii on here. Damian Priest, Finn Balor. They're a good tag team, but they got it late. They were doing the whole, who's going to screw each other over. They're an honorable mention. Adam Cole, MJF, they're an honorable mention. The Usos, who didn't even tag together this year.
I mean, they had the main
for 5 minutes.
Won a WrestleMania, yeah. They tagged together like barely.
Yeah, for 5 minutes they're on here. The Acclaimed, which is like they were trios most of the year. There's no way the trio should be on here.
Yeah, Catch 2-2 I think is way too low on this.
I agree. Especially given what they do whenever they get a big opportunity, like the Dome last year. Last year.
FTR with their second in a row, all they got to do is win 5 straight more.
All right, hey man, I got it. Yeah, that's true. This is all I'll say. Should Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have been in over Bishamon for second?
They broke them out too quick. For me.
Tom Bishamon?
FTR. Owens and Zayn. They broke them up too quick.
Right, that's my point. So why is it just WWE advantage? Do you think that's what it is? Because obviously it was a great story that people loved. Or not a great story, but a story people loved.
Best on interviews. Number 1, Eddie Kingston. Number 2,
second,
MJF. Right? Eddie Kingston has won this deal at least
twice now.
Yeah, this is his second win. He won in 2020. MJF won the last 2 years, and then he takes it back from MJF. MJF number 2. Number 3, Christian Cage. 4, Jon Moxley. 5, Cody Rhodes. 6, Danielson. 7, Ospreay. 8, Punk. 9, LA Knight. 10, Don Callis. So, if you look at the write-up in this thing, Kingston, he talks about he's an interesting pick in a close race over MJF, and I believe he mentioned LA Knight, and it's like LA Knight finished 9th. Why are you bringing him up at all? I don't get that. But I think Eddie should have got more opportunity actually, and he did his thing with MJF really just hogging the mic all year. Yeah.
It's an indictment MJF finished second on this with all the amount of time he talked. He talked more than probably anybody in wrestling except for maybe Roman. Actually, more than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns don't show up that much. So, yeah, he talked more than anybody in pro wrestling this year.
What I was looking at with MJF, being on so much near the top of some of these awards and then near the top of some of the negative awards as well, MJF in 2023, he was a volume shooter.
Oh, yeah.
Inefficient as hell.
Yeah.
He was scoring 25 points and taking 35 shots to do it.
Yeah, a whole lot of 10 for 25 nights. Yeah.
Promotion of the year. For the first time since the year 2000, WWE won it.
What?
Excuse me. the first time WWE has ever won it.
Are you sure?
Because all the other wins were WWF.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're doing. Ha ha. No, I think it's interesting, you know, like I didn't quite see like the fervor that people have when like AEW or New Japan was reeling this off every single year since we started watching Observer when it will come out, like
Apparently,
talking about how
this
it's bought and paid for, but like they win it this year, and like I didn't hear anything about like people being like, oh, having a reconciliation, like, oh, wait a minute, maybe it's just that like the company got better and we were lying about it this whole time. Didn't happen. And nobody came out and said, and I didn't even see people be like, finally. I didn't even see that.
That's right. You know, George Bush was in office. You know, Millennium had just dropped.
Millennium.
You know.
You said 2000. You said 2000 last time.
Yes.
I mean,
you know, Shaq and Kobe winning their first title.
Well,
together.
there's another significant marker in the early 2000s of a time in history.
Do tell.
It involves planes.
God damn it. Number 2, All Elite Wrestling. Number 3, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Number 4, CMLL. All the way down to number 7, Stardom. Behind All Japan.
Well, All Japan had a good year.
What the fuck has happened to Stardom?
You know what happened to Stardom? We discussed it. We discussed it at times throughout the year. It's like they crashed, barreled ahead through like a year full of booking between like Julia and Mirai and Mina and Tam to get to Yokohama Arena because they needed a big main event. So they were like, put Tam and Julia in there, do the title change here as opposed to go through the whole year, the twists and turns of, you know, Mina starting out on her own to do Club Venus, the twists and turns of, you know, the love triangle between Natsupoi and Tam and Mina, and they just plowed ahead through it, and then they got to the rest of the year, and they're like, oh, 5 title defenses all year, and for the top belt in the promotion. Tons of injuries. The only really like full fleshed out story that went all the way through that started and ended was like the Oedo Tai in Queen's Quest thing.
Looking more at promotion of the year, I feel like AEW gave this one away. This wasn't necessarily about what WWE did, because we're not talking about how good these shows were.
Rich.
SummerSlam fucking sucked. Night 2 of WrestleMania, they fucking execute Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
They had some good shows like Backlash and the Royal Rumble 2023, like in night 1 of WrestleMania. But after that, it's pretty dire. Like when you're talking about what's actually on the shows and stuff like that, AEW shot itself in the foot so much with negative press and like the negativity around the online sentiment swung toward them in a way that just never happened previously. Yeah. And a lot of that was due to like internally, I think, you know, within the fan base, and then, you know, the normal negativity that's there. So like, I think that was like, you know, like people just looked at like the television deals they signed or the business metrics, like the press releases for Peacock and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know,
there's
man.
Also the part where they had a babyface that people loved, and they had a storyline that people loved, and when WWE and in most pro wrestling, until we got to, you know, in North America, until we got to AEW, if you have a top storyline on top, the rest of the shit don't matter. You're going to be hot if you get people into the top storyline. And for WWE, this proves that's still true. And you know, they had the Sami Zayn thing that was super hot with the Bloodline. You had the Cody thing that was super hot. People were, despite us being like, what the fuck? Like people were into you know, main event Jey Uso. And then it worked out worse than we even thought it would have, which is like, should listen to us, but whatever. You got people in the building to see that shit. So yeah, like, you know,
there was a lot of goodwill.
A lot of goodwill. A lot of
strangely for the sex trafficking company. Yes, lots of goodwill.
Look, you also got to know, like, WWE has the benefit of the doubt and an easier bar to clear than everyone else, and we know this. We've always known that. And like when AEW's coming out here and they're doing this shit like the devil, and like, and you know, stuff that's dividing the fan base, like, and then Kenny Omega is in and out, the leader in and out, like they're re-signing, and you know, it was just not a weird year, but it was a weird year. This was the weirdest year they ever had, and like that was the consequence. And like you look around the world, like New Japan, where it's like, all right, Rebel's gonna be on Sonata on top for 7 months out the year. What the fuck is that?
That shit ain't never gonna hit. Like,
right? Like CMLL doesn't have the exposure. UFC is never gonna do well in this because unless they're like just on fire, because this is more of a wrestling thing. All Japan's too small to ever do anything. Stardom had a shot, but they like, if this was 2021 or 22 Stardom, they could have won this year. But 2023 Stardom is not 2021 or 22 Stardom, right? They had the worst year. AEW and Stardom both in 2019. We both started watching them at the same time. 2023 was the worst year for both of them at the same time, when they were 1 and 2 promotions in pro wrestling for the last 2 years before this. They both fucked it, both of them.
Crazy. Best weekly TV show, number 1, AEW Dynamite.
Hey, the match is still match, even though the match is still match.
Great matches in AEW.
Yeah.
A lot of them happen on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Number 2, Collision. Really started coming into his own towards the end of the year.
You know, CM Punk got him off to a great start.
Yeah.
I mean, look. You can't. I understand everyone has rightfully mocked the part where it's like the people that are nostalgic for like this 3 week or this like 5 week run of Collision that people pine about or whatever else.
He was having 3 1/4 matches that went 28 minutes with Ricky Starks that were botching, that were horrible.
I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is, like, I understand people have that, but it's like when he came in on that first week and he put an X on that fucking belt, he got that meta promo, regardless of whether it pissed you off or you thought it was ingenious or both. It was compelling as hell, and like it was good to see Andrade and thing to be interesting, and then whatever else. Like they say it quickly morphed into the Danielson era, and the Danielson era was awesome. Like, there's no reason for me to want to watch that shit, but I end up watching it every other week now.
Yeah. When you're talking about wrestling, and you know, Dynamite had quite an experimental year, I would say. Because obviously a lot of that time was monopolized by MJF, but he couldn't take up the whole show. Right, and
the Continental Classic saved this promotion. Like, if the Continental Classic had started up 2 more months, they might have been able to come back in the back door and stole this back.
Yeah. There was, you know, just too many great matches. Like,
yeah,
it's the best wrestling show there's ever been. So,
in American pro wrestling, absolutely.
Number 3, SmackDown.
Yep. The A show.
Number 4, CMLL. Number 5, NXT. 6, Raw. 7, Rampage.
Now that's an embarrassment. That is an embarrassment. Obviously, it's only 6 points. But NXT to be in front of Raw when NXT is god awful as outside of like the branded shows, like the Halloween Havocs and the New Year's Evils and the Takeovers level events. Outside of that is not a watchable show.
So Joe Lanza had a great rant behind his paywall about some of Dave's comments here, talking about NXT. So Dave's comments were, you know, AEW captured the award for the 5th straight year, every year of its existence, and by a sizable margin. While Dynamite didn't grow in audience reach this year, while NXT and SmackDown in particular showed great growth, Dynamite usually has more great matches than any of the other shows, and then the balloting, that's going to make a lot of difference. It was notable because SmackDown had the most major league feel, NXT had the best character development, and Raw was the platform where Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins got much stronger. But when it comes to when it comes to wrestling matches, traditionally that's what's going to come out here. All this explaining, all this cop and please, best character development?
No.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
No. Like, don't get me wrong, they have good storylines, whatever else, but like, no. Anyway, so the one thing I want to point out, Raw was the platform. Hold on. SmackDown had the most major league feel. That is true. NXT had the best character development. I'm very dubious on that. Raw was the platform where Cody and Seth got much stronger. Seth Rollins did not get much stronger at all. In fact, he got, if you want to say anything, he's lost power being fucking that cup champion over there. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Best character development. We're one step away from like Duke the Dumpster Drosy walking in the door. We have generic Italian man with Tony D. How deep is the character of the development of Tiffany Stratton? How deep is the character development of niggas redoing Shawn Michaels angles from the 90s? Like we didn't see them.
Yeah.
Just so deep.
Maybe he's doing the Jim Cornette logic of like after 7 years, like you can just do the same shit over and over again.
Sure.
Because your audience has cycled out in theory. And it's like, nah. Not in WWE when the average age of the fan is in their fucking 50s. No.
Yeah. Pro Wrestling Match of the Year. Number 1, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, 1-4, Tokyo Dome. Number 2, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, 625, Forbidden Door. Number 3, MJF versus Bryan Danielson, Revolution. 4, Swerve Strickland versus Adam Page at Full Gear. 5, FTR versus Jay White and Juice Robinson. 6, Danielson versus Sabre. 7, Kazuhiko Nakajima versus Kento Miyahara. 8, Will Ospreay versus Tetsuya Naito. 9, Queen's Quest versus Hideo Tai. The cage match.
Yep.
And number 10, Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. Yeah. Just add another match of the year award for both Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. They've got several of them, both of those guys. When they linked up, we knew what it would be. 1 and 2.
Yep.
Incredible.
Those are 2 best matches I saw last year, and I still think that Kenny Omega Ospreay in the Tokyo Dome was the best match I've seen so far this decade. So, yeah.
Yeah. This decade is like...
we're 5 years in now. We're through this awards, we're 4 years in.
You can get diverticulitis. You can have knee surgery, neck surgery, shoulder surgery. The end of these years, the best bout machine is still there. It happens, Will, just like this, if you look at these awards in total, this is like the celebration of Will Ospreay, these awards.
Yeah, pretty much. It's almost like he's the best wrestler in the world and has been since 2019.
Black Sabre Jr., that's Kenny's 5th time winning that award, right? I would have to look.
You can look. Hold on, let's see real quick. All right, so that would be his... Oh, whoops, he moved me all the way up here. It's his 4th. Is his 4th, incredible. And for Ospreay, it would be his 3rd.
I was gonna say it was at least his 2nd, but yeah, this is his 3rd.
His 3rd. Okada got 5 of these bitches. The crazy part about it is they're all either with Tanahashi or Okada. I'm sorry, either Tanahashi, Omega, or Ospreay.
Yeah.
It's almost like Okada, Omega, and Ospreay are the 3 best wrestlers of this era. It's almost like that. It's almost like it. It's crazy.
And they've all been reunited in All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, with Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
What the fuck? Remember? I forgot why I sent you it, but you sent me a picture of 2 very attractive women, and I sent you back a picture from the '92 Dream Team of Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan with their gold medals. Like, we gotta find out what the equivalent of like Danielson, Okada, Omega, and Ospreay together is. We gotta figure out what the fuck that is.
Bro,
as a sports picture.
It's crazy. Like it's gonna be like the 27 Yankees or
something like that. Yeah, it's gonna be something like that.
So we got the U.S. MVP, U.S. Canada MVP. Number 1, Cody Rhodes. Number 2, Bryan Danielson. 3, MJF. 4, Roman Reigns. 5, Jon Moxley. 6, Orange Cassidy. 7, Kenny Omega. 8, CM Punk. 9, Seth Rollins. 10, Sami Zayn.
CM Punk in front of Seth Rollins is hilarious. CM Punk wrestled how many matches? Even 10. Did he even wrestle 10? Did he even wrestle 10?
Less than 10.
Right.
Gotta
That's
be
hilarious.
Less than 10.
Damn, Seth. Damn.
Danielson missed tons of time. Still got second.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Cody's award. I thought his year kind of fell off after SummerSlam.
I can see that.
You know, I think he did enough. Kind of, you know, his whole year changes if there's simple competence of strapping him up at WrestleMania.
Right.
I think that would have been probably the
he
easy
wins
thing
for
to
Feds
do.
if he wins, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing too. Yeah.
Japanese MVP. 1, Will Ospreay. 2, Kazuchika Okada. 3, Tetsuya Naito. 4, Kento Miyahara. 5, Yuma Aoyagi. 6, Tam Nakano. 7, Julia. 8, Sonata. 9, Kano. 10, Micah.
Rich.
So when you hold the IWGP Championship
7-8 months.
7 months out the year, right? And then you don't even finish top 7. I don't ever want to hear shit about Sonata, anything near the world title, how this was the right decision, how this was, you know, just had to be done, how the year had to go the way it went.
Right.
It had to be him in the dome.
Right.
Absolutely not. I don't buy it. The receipts, this shit does not add up in Tokyo Sports. This shit doesn't add up in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. This shit doesn't add up anywhere you look.
It don't add up in Sports Illustrated whenever that comes out, if it hasn't came out yet.
It don't add up on the Forbidden Door card. When he comes in, he's the 4th match on the show.
Yep.
No, it don't. It don't add up. You know where it adds up? In your minds, in your fantasies. That's where this that's where this adds up.
Bro.
Meanwhile, Will Ospreay, you give him the fucking belt that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
and he comes out here and cleans up the globe.
I would like to point out that my beloved Tam and Julia both finished out in front of the 7-month reigns of the IWGP champion, while one of them was injured, the other one was basically in shadow band with that fucking lavender belt.
Yeah. Okada and Naito just 2 and 3 just cause they ain't really, you know.
Well, I mean, you got with Okada and Naito, you also got to throw in like Naito won the G1.
Yep.
He also had to be the person to put over Sonata in the New Japan Cup, and he retired Muto's bitch ass. So there's also that. He could have finished second for me.
Why didn't Tetsuya Naito try to do the roll call in the dome when he beat Muto? Why did we had to wait 8 extra months for him to do that?
Well, you said 8 extra months, Rich. When we get to Booker of the Year and we see someone's name missing, I'm gonna get to the part where he said, "Why is the reason why we had to drag this shit for 4 years out?" I had that saved. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Muto versus Shono had to happen, I guess. Yeah.
But Okada, look. Okada beat the shit out of Kaito Kiyomiya. That's what got him second. Bro, I saw a clip of when that man hit him with that Rainmaker, lifted him up at the 2 count, and then before the 3 count, then whooped his ass some more, and then finally put him away. Bro, that's one of the best matches of the year. But boy, he damn Kaito, stand up,
be a man. Mexico MVP, Mexico. Moving on.
Yep.
Europe MVP, Will Ospreay, once again. Number 2, Michael Oku. Way the fuck back there, by the way.
Sabre way down there. Do you see Pentagon finish 5th? Pentagon finished 5th in Mexico MVP?
That's funny.
Right.
Non-heavyweight MVP, El Hijo del Vikingo.
Yep.
Can't hate on that. Number 2.
I probably would have went Hiromu, but, whatever.
Like, Vikingo's he went nuts last year.
He went nuts, but I did love Hiromu's junior title reign this year. Like, it was like, he's figured out how to be a great wrestler without, like, putting his neck at risk and his shoulder at risk again. So I was like, I really loved his year. I heard getting Watto hot in the streets from time to time. Like, look, him and Desperado was doing God's work at times last year in the juniors division.
Women's wrestling MVP, number 1, Rhea Ripley. Number 2, Julia. 3, Athena. 4, Tam Nakano. 5, Becky Lynch. 6, Toni Storm. 7, Suzu Suzuki. Tied for 7th, Miyu Yamashita. 9, Mayu Watani. And 10, in jail, Shuri.
Yep.
This is amazing that they gave a non-wrestler the women's wrestling MVP. Just an absolutely shameful year for women's wrestling
worldwide. Yeah, when Stardom goes down, the only person that really held up their end relative to expectation was Julia, who really should have won this, and Athena, who was actually the best women's wrestler in North America this year. And ring honor is ring honor, WWE is WWE. So Rhea Ripley wins the women's wrestling MVP for being a manager in men's matches. Like, if this was 1998, China would have won that shit too. Instead of Aja Kong or Manami Toyota, right? That's what would have happened. Am I lying? Is that not what would have happened?
That's it.
Yeah.
Feud of the year. Number 1, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. Get the fuck out of here. Number 2, Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland.
That's probably 3, what I would have voted for.
Kento Miyahara versus Katsuhiko Nakajima. Number 4, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay.
That's what should have won if there was a third match.
Adam Page versus Jon Moxley. Elite versus BCC.
Yep.
Rocky Romero and Volador. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. That's laughable.
That's
Cody
ridiculous.
Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar.
That could have been on worse view. MJF versus the Devil is even worse. Is an even worse candidate than Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. A lot worse.
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. Just over Swerve and Heyman. Just no. I just flat reject it.
Rich.
But
over Kenta Miyahara and Nakajima, over Ospreay in Omega. Over, look, I understand the split votes because you're right, Nick. They're 5 and 6, but they're the same program. Page versus Moxley bled into Ospreay. I'm sorry, bled into Elite versus BCC. Like, they're one and the same. They split votes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely not. But whatever.
Yeah.
Best box office draw. Number 1, Roman Reigns. 2, Cody Rhodes. 3, John Cena. And this one wasn't voted on. Dave just kind of gave this shit out.
Yeah, that's how he does it now. Or
I would like someone
last
to explain to me, how is Roman Reigns a bigger draw than Cody Rhodes?
No, I will. No. Explain how he's a bigger draw than John Cena. When John Cena shows up and actually noticeably jumps the numbers. And then Roman's on shows or not on shows, and this kind of makes no difference about the house or like the intent or the viewership from time to time, or more times than not. Like, John Cena actually makes difference every time he shows up.
Like, Cody Rhodes is almost you can point to him and be like, he rebuilt the WWE house show business post pandemic. You can say it's Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, you could. I mean, well, I don't know if that boom started before or after the Sammy thing got hot. I'm not sure. But he is definitely a person that's held it up post Sammy being phased down.
Most improved.
What the
Number
fuck?
1.
I just saw this. Julia Hart. Are you fucking kidding me?
Number 1, Julia Hart.
Dom Mysterio's 2. That's even worse.
Number 3, Mariah May. Tied for 3rd, Shota Umino. 5, Swerve Strickland.
Well, you know how it is. Most improved also, it figures it's like the most improved in like basketball sometimes, where it's like a third-year player was like, oh, they got to jump in minutes.
Yeah.
And like Swerve, he got to jump in minutes. So basically, so the thing for me is like Swerve's jump in minutes should have put him at 1 for this, because obviously he was a guy that was super talented, but like now he's a main eventer. And like the jump from the jump from talented mid-carder to upper to main eventer is bigger than Julia Hart going from a nobody to with a belt that no one really cares about, Dominic to a male manager for a female manager, Mariah May going from Gaijin that got a shot to a person that gets pinned a lot, even though she improved a lot technically, like for real technical, like got better in the ring. Umino, I don't know what to say about Umino because I don't watch enough of the house shows, but like I like him, but he does have a bust rate.
Differently. I guess I look at it differently. I tend to look at who was like sorry and then like turned into something good rather than like, oh, this person's just the same they've always been, and then, you know, increase in minutes, as you say. Mm-hmm. So that's why I kind of look funny at seeing like Yoda, Suji, and Swerve on here. I'm like, yo, they had this shit figured out long ago. They just finally had somebody believe in them. Like, to me, that's a little. I get you. Like, that's not a skill. I get you. You know, situation. But yeah, Julia Hart at number 1. That's just.
I mean, you look at Kyle. How about this? Kyle Fletcher at honorable mention at number 12, when it's like, nah, man, he's been raw for a while, man. I don't get that. My Sakurai 18, when she still stinks, is like, or not stinks, but still mediocre, is like, okay, whatever. You like the gimmick, cool.
Yeah, like you could put the Gunn Brothers on here a little higher. I think they were number 10, right?
You are. Well, I wouldn't say most improved, but is there a comeback wrestler of the year?
There is not, I don't think.
Because Juice would be number 1 for me, I'd imagine.
Yeah, Juice Robinson.
Yeah. Because when he was at the end of that New Japan run, I was like, bro, he's done. He's cooked.
He want to retire.
Yeah. And he came to AEW, and I was like, bro, why they do that? And he's a valuable guy. You know, minus the anti-Semitic, roll of quarters or coins or whatever else. Outside of that, that's not no big thing to just sidestep. But yeah, like he's valuable when he's on TV.
Most charismatic, number 1, MJF. 2, Roman Reigns. 3, Kento Miyahara. 4, Julia. 5, Cody Rhodes. 6, Eddie Kingston. 7, Orange Cassidy. Tied for 7th, CM Punk. 8, Swerve Strickland. 9, LA Knight. 10, Dom Mysterio. I'm sorry, I don't know in what world MJF is more charismatic than Swerve, especially not like in 2023.
I mean,
has been Swerve's
or
award.
John Moxley, or Christian Cage, or Tetsuya Naito, or Sami Zayn.
Like, say what you want, Roman Reigns like has them people throwing up the ones to be like him in his tracksuits.
Yeah.
Cody
I'm never good with the charismatic thing, because I'm like, if you're talking about a stereotypical charismatic or whatever else, then like Maki Ito should win this shit every single year. But if you're talking about like, I don't know, how to make people more or less swoon or whatever, bite off every action you do, I guess MJF does it. But he also like is very polarizing with that, because he also turns a lot of people off at the same time. So it's like he's very volatile. He's very
this is his
like
third time
volatile.
winning that award.
Say again?
This is his 3rd time winning that award. Yeah, I don't know. I would have went with Swerve here personally. Like,
I don't think I don't think throughout the year he talked enough for that. But I mean, I think this year will be that. Like when he cut that promo about Black History Month during Black History Month on Collision, that's more of what I want to see out of him, as opposed to just like the only time he really talks is like to talk specifically about like Adam Page, more or less.
What I'm saying, like charisma, like that can be how somebody walks to the ring. That can be like the stuff they wear. Like that can be just how cool somebody is.
Yeah, I get that, but I think also a lot of that also comes down to people break down between charisma and presence, and like that sort of thing is presence. Like for example, Yoda Tsuji's on here, honorable mention, right? He has presence. He is not necessarily charismatic in the way that people talk about. You think so? You think he's Jushin Thunder Liger?
Bro, he's charismatic as fuck.
I think he has great presence. I think he looks the part not more than he actually is the part right now, and I think he'll get better at it over time.
Bro, he's a no-brainer. Like the smile, the gear.
The smile is the part of the presence. The gear is the presence. That's not actually like the charisma part. Like Eddie
that's why people like him.
But that's part of the presence. Like and how he holds it together. Like okay, we watch him. You watch Tetsuya Naito. You watch Eddie Kingston. Do you think the same thing or feel the same thing when they're performing? Because I don't. And maybe it's also because like I watched it. And maybe it's also because I watched that hair match he just had, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, like the second like that man showed up on the scene at Dominion last year, that man hits that damn space flying tiger drop, yells in the crowd essentially, and is like basically like fire up. What? Across from the IWGP champion, makes him look like a nothing. Like, yes, that man's charismatic as fuck. Like,
being charismatic compared to Sonata is, I don't think that's that hard to do, and I don't think you think that either. But yeah, man, we're talking about this was a this year or last year award, so maybe he did better than what I've seen out of him so far this year. I'm not like I'm selling stock on him, but like I just think that like over time he'll be able to channel it better.
Bryan Danielson Award, Best Technical Wrestler, goes to Bryan Danielson. This is like his 12th or 13th time winning, something like that.
Yikes. Is Sabre ever going to catch him?
Number 2. No. Danielson have to retire again. Bruiser Brody, Memorial Award, Best Brawler. Number 1, Jon Moxley by a wide margin. Number 2, Tomohiro Ishii. 3, Adam Page. 4, Eddie Kingston. 5, Gunther. 6, Roosh. Tied for 6th, Shingo Takagi. Julia, Samoa Joe, Sheamus.
Moxley has now won 4 straight. He's won 4 straight now. That's kind of crazy. Ishii won.
Do you always get brawling from him? Because I don't necessarily feel like he's a brawler necessarily all the time.
I think by brawling they mean like go out there and have garbage matches or whatever else outside on the floor. And by American standards, that is a brawler because like if I go up here and look at Steve Austin in the late 90s, he'll be up here too, right? Like either him or Foley, right? So that's what they mean by brawling. Like when I think of brawling, I think of someone standing in the paint and throwing clubs and all that kind of shit. Like never open weight. You know, Ishii, Shibata, Shingo type of shit, right?
Look, because I gotta say, Eddie Kingston, like, had a hell of a year in that case. If that's what we're looking at, someone standing in the paint, taking them chops, whooping ass, him or Gunther. But Gunther kind of
Gunther don't get enough profile to have matches that go off like that, and like Kingston he missed some time, or it seemed he was off TV for a while. And then he heated back up, but like Moxie's always on TV, and he's always has good ass matches. And he's always gonna have the inside track on Ishii because Ishii like people don't get to see his matches that often, or no, it's not that often, but like he has his profile to be able for people to see him that vote on this thing is not nearly as big as Moxley's.
Hangman getting on their Best Brawler. Of course, he has those pair of matches, like one with Swerve, one with Moxley.
The nasty matches.
And he was in Blood and Guts as well. So was Moxley.
Yep.
I wish Sheamus was higher, but Sheamus doesn't get to do his thing.
How could he have been? Who do you want him to jump on this list?
I can't think of anything he did outside of WrestleMania, though.
Right.
That's the only thing. Maybe like his...
22?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I probably have to go back. He probably was higher.
Best Flying Wrestler, El Hijo del Vikingo. Absolutely, by a wide margin.
Yep. Phoenix broke up all year, still finished third.
Yep.
I don't know if that's actually accurate, given that we don't watch the MLL.
Yeah, that's a legacy vote. I would say for Phoenix right there.
Yeah.
4 Mascara Dorada, 5 Commander, 6 Neon. I don't know who that is. That must be CMLL.
Yeah. Why is the Commander on Most Improved?
He should be on there.
That's what I'm thinking now that I see his name. Maybe he's an honorable mention.
Maybe. Number 8, Mystico. Mystico not all flyer like that no more. El Phantasmo, Starlight Kid, and then Teton. She'll be flying like that.
Right. She has a moonsault.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. That still means she got better votes than Io Shirai ever got on this thing, which is nuts.
Most overrated.
Here we go.
Let's do it. Number 1, Sonata.
Yep.
Number 2, Roman Reigns. Number 3, CM Punk. Number 4, Tyrus. Number 5, MJF. 6, Austin Theory. 7, Nia Jax. 8, Chris Jericho. 9, LA Knight. 10, Jake Lee.
All right.
Wow. Bianca Belair, honorable mention at 14.
Whatever.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, so people that voted Yujiro Takahashi, do they know what this award actually is?
I guess they just want him to go away and die. I guess.
All right.
Sonata and Roman Reigns. I mean, look, when we say most overrated, that's most overpushed. I would argue Roman Reigns is overpushed. If you are in the middle of a 3.5, almost 4-year title reign, being pushed like God Almighty, that far above everybody else, and you know, this is not like you barely get to use them or anything like that. It's like, this guy's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's not Hulk Hogan. He's not anywhere close to that.
Yep.
But he just, you know, this is how the push he receives. I would term that overrated.
Yeah, it's an overpush award, and even by that standard that you just laid out, I still go with Sonata. Like we are talking about. So I agree. It what sent me off the deep end was seeing Jim Valley put out a tweet, and Jim's a very, very nice guy. He's been through a lot, and he said that like he thinks that the fans don't get what Sonata's role was, and I was like, yeah, we get the role. He was a 7-month transitional champion. That fucking sucks. If you need a transitional champion, it don't need to be for over half a year. That's not a transitional champion. That's just a bad champion.
Could have won that shit at King of Pro Wrestling, Destruction and Bipu, you know, G1 final like day, something like that. Fuck.
Like you go through his G1 run, it was very pedestrian. Like, you know, obviously he had a match with Hiromu that was really good. I'm shortchanging that. It was actually great. But yeah, like, nah, man, like the match with Evil at the end, no, to get the title, that shit sucked. Like, no, This man had no business being a champion for that long in a promotion that literally, like, this is the forget the overpush thing. The term overrated. He was the top champion, the main eventer of the promotion for 7 months. And the promotion had Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Will Ospreay, and Kazuchika Okada. By definition, he's overrated. By the very definition.
Anytime you got Will Ospreay for the entire year of 2023 and he could be your world champion, you just don't got to do that, I guess. I don't, you know. But you know, Sonata made them a decent amount of money. I don't know. But I'll say this. I see nothing that shows that none of those other people couldn't have made more. Right.
Like you say, oh, he made a whole bunch of money. You know what made more money? Hiromu versus Naito in the fucking dome. They don't want to do it for some reason. I understand the talk is Hiromu never wants to go to heavyweight. Hey man, do you want the company, do you want the doors of this company to still be open in 5 years or not? It's up to you. You want to be a junior heavyweight champion who's in the middle of a fucking down cycle right now, currently? Do you think this is helping? We'll get to it later.
It's a bad program. Like, I'm saying Dr. Larry, why are we blaming him? That's on Gedo and Naito for, doing this thing. But Sonata's the guy that ends up in the role. That's who we have to vote for.
Right.
Here.
If you watch a movie where the main or the actor is giving bad dialogue, and then in the edit keeps the worst takes or whatever else, we're going to say that guy's a bad actor. We understand it. Yes, there are probably better scenes or whatever else that are better takes of that got lost in the wash or whatever else. Nonetheless, we still laughing at him. Sorry.
Yep. Number 3, CM Punk. Based on what he produced and the headaches he caused,
good argument for it.
Very overrated. MJF, men understand, number 5.
How bad was Tyrus? Jesus.
Yeah, Tyrus was Tyrus, but
how are there 61 people voted for Tyrus? I didn't know there were 62 people that was watching NWA.
Crazy. But yeah, MJF, this was, like I mentioned, volume scoring.
Right.
And every day you'll see on Twitter, you'll see people, I like the MJF title Ryan, and then all they'll do is put 4 match graphics or whatever. I'm like,
as opposed to
what about all the fucking hours of television that was wasted on this man and his promos and his vignettes and all the shit we had to sit through that were not those matches?
Forget that part. What about the part where he was a champion the entire year? 4 matches is all you got?
Yes. Get the fuck out of here, man.
That's acceptable in WWE. It is not acceptable in AEW. The role is different.
That's
the top is different.
Story. Look, that's the story of MJF, and what you just said, James. That's acceptable in WWE. That is not acceptable here. That's his entire ethos right now.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna just jump to the bottom. Jake Lee being here for Noah with 20 votes at number 10 is astounding. People don't watch that promotion like that for him to get 20. And bro, that man went out there and that N1 he had stank. It was stank. He had one match. He had one banger match. The rest was stank. Some of the fits were very hit or miss. I remember the first one he had with Kaito. I was like, bro, are you kidding me?
Austin theories on this thing.
Yep.
He went over John Cena. This is a preview of the WWE 2K rating segment. This man showed up the next year in the video game as a 72 overall.
Yeah.
Here's what they think about you.
Hey, guess who's going to be here next year?
Who?
He was on the family tree.
Oh, yeah. Solo.
Yep.
Bring it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most underrated. Number 1, Chad Gable.
Yep.
Number 2, Konosuke Takeshita.
Yep.
3, Daniel Garcia. 4, Mike Bailey.
Makes sense. He might be the best wrestler that's not signed to a major.
5, Yota Tsuji. 6, Ricochet. 7, Roosh. 8, Commander. 9, Britt Baker. 10, Hangman Page.
Given the first there was a section of the year where it was he went backseat to Omega and the Young Bucks again. And it's Texas Death, or the time between the Texas Deaths is why does this dude go into hiding sometimes? So I can see that.
Chad Gable being number 1, so we kind of had a conversation about this, I think. Chad Gable, the way I see people talking about him, I'm he's the same wrestler he's always been.
Yeah, I think people like the goofy character in Alpha Academy.
But there's not even any potential there anymore. It's he's like the WWE John Silver.
There's no potential in it because it's such a low floor comedy thing that's never gonna get anywhere. It's there to pop the crowd and get a reaction, and that's it.
Because I'm when I look at him as compared to people would, I feel like, have futures in front of them, like Konosuke Takeshita or Daniel Garcia. And I see Gable, I'm like, most underrated. I'm like, what are we supposed to be pushing him as? Like, he's already, his lot in life has been decided already.
Well, I think it's similar to the Cesaro thing. Was like Cesaro was winning that shit like him and Ricochet were winning that shit like every year in the 2010s in WWE. Because like, you can just say this dude is fated for this, but it's like, that doesn't mean that this person isn't fucking awesome.
He turns 38 next week.
Gable?
Yeah.
Yeah, they fucked around with him. Guess who's gonna be on there? Guess who's gonna replace Gable in like 4 years?
Who?
Tyler Bate! Well, Tyler Bate's still fucking awesome. And he's gonna be doing nothing.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess when I look at underrated, I think of like youth and upside that are there, but I just don't.
I don't think that necessarily should. I think that's more thinking of it from a GM perspective than a like just can you hoop type of situation. Because like. Mm-hmm. If I need a match with Daniel Garcia and Kenny Omega tomorrow, or Daniel Garcia and Chad Gable tomorrow, I think I'm going to pick Gable, or Ospreay, for example. Like I think Gable has a higher ceiling, and it just well, honestly, Bate has a higher ceiling than both of them. But you get my point. It's like these motherfuckers ain't being used. They just there chilling, and then eventually they don't get used enough. You be like, can they even still do it? And then you just be like, oh, all right, well. Ricochet, same thing. Like, you can keep voting for Ricochet for this shit, but it's like, now you're basing that on, like, this is what you've seen and, like, not even what you, like, are seeing right now.
Look, Ricochet is kind of crossing that line, like, of, like...
It already happened to Gargano.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, yeah, we know you're still fucking awesome in theory, but we don't even fucking see you be awesome to get a chance to be awesome for 5 seconds.
Like, it's over now. Like,
yeah. Shouldn't have re-signed to this company if you want to go out there and ball. This is not a company for balling. This is a company for big stars with big muscles and handsome looks. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't fit that stereotype, know that there's another alternative for you to go to. And if you don't want to go there, well then I guess be happy with your own life. I hope you are.
You chose.
I feel like you left shit on the table.
Hey,
if you ain't want to do it, whatever.
Section here. So someone said Logan Paul should have won. Doc Larry, I absolutely agree. Most underrated, like, bro, if they could get him for more dates, they should be pushed. Logan Paul should be near the top of this promotion. They're about to waste. Yes, they're about to waste Logan Paul on Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Yes, I know. Randy Orton, legendary wrestler, blah, 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 RKO out of nowhere. All right, blah, blah, blah. It's a mid-card match. We won't think about the shit twice. Like,
but
Rich, something like
I get
that means something with Logan Paul.
But think what you just said. We won't think about it twice in a certain amount of time. We did that with a bunch of Logan Paul matches. Like, he fought Seth Rollins last year. Do you remember that fucking match? Other than saying it was cool?
Yeah, I remember. It was at WrestleMania. It was like,
it was fun. No, it was like a 4-star match. Right. But I'm saying, like, Logan Paul's not here for like he's here to do the cool AEW match that like people say wouldn't get over in WWE, but like because that dude is an asshole and has a persona, he can do all the AEW shit and like he's amazing. Charisma? He's revolutionary.
Where was he on the most charismatic list? He should have been on there.
He should have been. But people don't like him though. It's part of it. They ain't gonna vote for you. They don't like you.
I guess.
Well, unless you CM Punk, but whatever. That's some people don't like CM Punk. Yeah,
we got Rookie of the Year. Now this shit's weird. Number 1, Yuma Anzai from All Japan, I believe. Number 2, Action Andretti. Number 3, Megan Bain.
6 years in.
Oleg Bolton. Number 5, Kaylani Jordan. 6, Obafemi. He's been working a while also. 7.
Quick question. Got to interrupt you. Does Kaylani look like a Kaylani?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Billy Starks, number 7. 8, Santana Jackson, the Michael Jackson wrestler, I believe.
Are you serious?
8, Futuro. And number 10, Wakana Uehara, the Wakana section. Wow. Stand up. Let's go. I did not watch New Man's Eye, but every time I hear people talk about him, they say nothing but good things. But yeah, back to the Wakana, let's go. Actually, Andretti, I think he had a solid year for, just a young guy, kind of getting started in this thing. And I think he's been in wrestling for like 4 years himself. So rookie of the year is always weird.
Just went on Twitter and yeah, Kalani Jordan looks like a Kalani. Yeah. And wait, she's probably too young. I ain't gonna follow that. Anyway, back to the lecture at hand. Santana Jackson.
Have you seen Santana Jackson?
I've only seen the clips.
That's all you need to see.
This is what we doing now. Clip wrestlers get you on.
Clip wrestling. Right. Yes.
All right.
Clip wrestling.
All right.
Moonwalk DDT. That's right.
Wow.
Best non-wrestler. Number 1, Don Callis. Number 2, Paul Heyman. 3, Prince Nana. 4, Renee Paquette. 5, RJ City. Tied for 5th, Nick Aldis. 7th, Nigel McGuinness. 8, Samantha Irvin. Y'all have to stop this with this Samantha Irvin shit, please.
Because he's a ring announcer. And then Nigel McGuinness is a commentator. Why is he getting votes for this?
Why is Renee getting votes for this?
Right. Because she's the play-by-play. Or not play-by-play, but the interviewer.
So this was a robbery right here. I think Don had a very rough second half of the year. I thought it was awesome. The first half of the year had great, response from the crowd, and then obviously his feuds fell apart, and I think Prince Nana just heated up throughout the year. I will never give this award to Paul Heyman. Again, I just think he's so far removed from his best work. I think this is Prince Nana all day.
Okay,
near single-handedly causing a song to go viral. Damn near. The alliance with him and Swerve has just been magic, and no one's done for a manager, I think, in their subsequent unit what Nana has done. Like, is Paul Heyman really getting Roman Reigns over at this point? No. Like,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think Nana has just been. He should have won this, and this shouldn't have been close, honestly.
So I don't. I mean, I could be talking into Nana. I think the problem is, as far as from an efficiency standpoint, he should win. No one has done more to make a crowd react while doing less than Nana from the non-wrestler genre of last year. Callis did a lot of emotional work with the Omega thing, and I think they just hold a date for him because if not for that, this was not a good year for him. Heyman is always going to have the Heyman vote. He's there just because it's a legacy thing. But yeah, I could be talking to Nana because Nana just. I think that literally the turning point of a match for me is this is a 5-star match was him doing the fucking dance after screwing Hangman, after fucking with Hangman, and then he ended up getting dead-eyed through a table. He's fucking hilarious.
Yo. Best television announcer, Excalibur, number 1. 2, Ian Riccaboni. 3, Kevin Kelly. 4, Nigel McGuinness. 5, Chris Charlton. 6, Michael Cole. 7, Tony Schiavone. 8, Taz. 9, Jim Ross. 10, Jay Church. I have no thoughts on this.
Who is voting for Jim Ross in 2003? Who?
2000 what? Right.
I'm sorry, 2023. Sorry. Who? He's whatever. Move on. Excalibur, sure. My vote would have been Nigel because I think Nigel is calling Danielson match is nothing better right now. Yeah. So so I'm fine with that. Excalibur, Riccaboni. Look, we have a really good we have a deep run of quality announcers right now in a way that we didn't 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So.
Yeah, I guess I don't pay too much attention to them unless they do something to where it
Unless you're Michael Cole and you call a body slam a Michinoku driver in the middle of fucking elimination chamber. You know how many times he fucked up moves that were common ass moves with the more sophisticated moves during the elimination chamber?
Now, James, what if I told you Michael Cole wasn't fucking up the moves? He was simply renaming them. He's not fucking the moves up. He's changing the names.
Who told you this? Oh, you playing? Oh, okay. I want to say this. What kind of new shit is this? We're changing the name. We're changing names of the moves that start from 100 years ago, and we're changing them. Why? Yes. Because Michael Cole said so. Who the fuck is Michael Cole to be able to do that? They had the power, the authority to do such a thing. What? Because Vince McMahon used to be in his ear.
You know, there's been like this Michael Cole, like
he's so much better without being motherfucked every 5 seconds by Vince McMahon. He's fucking up bro. Hold on.
There's been like this recasting of like who Michael Cole has been for 25 years, like the Michael Cole Renaissance.
You want to know why people feel this way?
Recognition. I'm like,
you want to know why people feel this way?
He's a fucking robot, like with no credibility.
Right. You want to know why people feel that way? Because
you hang around WWE long enough and don't like anything.
No. Because people know that he produces the network stuff. So like when it was Nigel or it's
I don't know how many people know that.
A lot of people know that because it's part of the shows or whatever. So like when it's Mae Young Classic, when it's NXT, when it's NXT UK, when it's a Cruiserweight Classic, whatever else, and it's Daniel Bryan or whatever else. Like
a lot of years ago, and this new fan base.
Can I finish my point or not? All right. So many people are like, he's so good at coaching other people how to do these things, so that's why he's really actually good. But Vince, when he's the coach, fucks up the person that could be executing what the coach envisioned. Was like, nah, bro, that's the case. The coach Belichick can get his ass in a 3-point stance. Don't you think? No, he couldn't. He couldn't hoop like that. I'm sorry. That's not how that works. Some people can coach. Some people just can't execute the plays. They might have it in the mind to do it, but like when it comes down to it, they fuck it up. And Michael Cole is someone that don't know the moves and then calls the moves and then fucks up the moves. And then I'm like, wait a second. Did he just call? Wait, what? That makes no sense. And also, you mentioned the no credibility thing for all these years is just lying through his teeth and then faking emotion. There's also that part too.
Yeah. Worst television announcer. Number 1, Booker T. Number 2, Kevin Patrick. 3, Jim Ross. There we go. Number 4, Michael Cole.
There it is.
5, Corey Graves. 6, Kevin Kelly. 7, Chris Jericho. 8, Matt Striker. 9, Vic Joseph. And 10, Tony Schiavone. Damn y'all for putting Tony Schiavone on this. Instead of Pat McAfee, who is like tragically regressed.
Graves. People do not like Graves, man. He's earned it over these years. All right, so Michael Cole, because I didn't watch Elimination Chamber until last night. Michael Cole, Becky Lynch exploder suplex. Cole calls it a fallaway slam. Naomi does a blockbuster off the top of the pod to Liv standing on the second rope. Cole calls it a sunset flip powerbomb.
New vision. The new WWE.
Apparently so. McIntyre body slams LA Knight. Cole calls it a Michinoku driver. Lashley gives McIntyre a flatliner. Cole calls it an inverted DDT.
Absolutely not.
Yo, bro, like, nah, man. Cut the shit. Look, is she in WWE too? She need to go straight to that man's face. Cut the shit. No. These are not these moves. You're just fucking up, left and right. And there used to be one thing when it was like, a Michinoku driver, he mistaken it with a Blue Thunder Bomb. Now, he's calling fucking body slam Michinoku drivers. I don't recall Pat McAfee. I don't recall Drew McIntyre leaving his feet. Whatever, man.
Booker T, I think he just like he has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know the storylines. He doesn't know the names of the wrestlers.
Yeah, he flying in.
Yeah. Best major wrestling show. Number 1, AEW Revolution. Number 2, AEW New Japan Forbidden Door. Number 3, AEW All In. Number 4, WrestleMania Night 1. Number 5, AEW All Out. Number 6, Stardom All-Star Dream Queendom. Stardom All-Star Queendom. Yokohama. 7, 1-4, Wrestle Kingdom. 8, Keiji Muto's Last Love Tokyo Dome Show. Number 9, AEW Wrestle Dream. Number 10, ROH Supercard of Honor. Yeah, man. This is a lot of being booked by Tony Khan on this. So,
Yep.
what we talking about?
Yep.
A lot of great shows here.
Yes.
A lot of AEW shows. It wouldn't have been my order. I would have probably had All Out up there, but it would have been Revolution and All Out would have been fighting it out. Then Forbidden Door, then All In.
Amongst AEW,
and I didn't love All In like that.
They all kind of run together for me at this point now, because there were so many fucking AEW shows this year, or pay-per-views anyway.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that like the promotion of the year couldn't get more than one show on here.
Yeah, there's that. There's also the part where like Stardom had the best show in Japan, according to Observer voters.
Look at that.
Last year.
Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, Rich, you saw Stardom All-Star Queendom, and you saw Night 1 of WrestleMania. Which one was better?
I want to say there was at least 5 matches, I think, on All-Star Queendom where I was like, this is really great. Like,
right. Like, I think Meltzer gave 4 matches. I'm sorry, not 4. He gave 6 matches, 4.25. Or better. Like, it's literally one of the greatest shows of all time.
Hey, that was the peak.
Yeah, just like the Giant Egg Tokyo Dome in '94, right?
That was it.
Yeah.
You think Stardom will be on her next year?
For best show?
Yeah.
I gotta see what the contract's looking like come in the next few weeks. You gotta see who's coming and who's going.
But yeah, Revolution was sensational.
Yeah.
I had that Bryan Danielson and MJF. I had the Texas Death. I had Elite versus House of Black trios match. Jericho, Ricky Starks. A couple other joints too. Remember, a lot of people were saying I was like, contender for best AEW pay-per-view ever.
Yeah.
I would put AEW All Out as well.
Do you think All In was actually the third best AEW show this year?
No.
Yeah, same here. Mm-hmm. But maybe it's because people like that maybe a bit more than we did. Maybe if we liked it as much as everyone else did, or remember a lot of people did, then it would have been, higher. But I don't see it.
Like if All In has like one of the 5-star matches from like All Out, like I think it might have fucked around and won like show of the year just because of the platform.
Right.
Like, it was just the biggest show.
It's a WrestleMania factor. Why this vote is? That's kind of where I was getting at. Because and also all these damn AEW shows they're all splitting votes from each other too.
I think they're actually like I don't think they're splitting votes. I think they're taking up real estate. Like
that's what I kind of mean, right? Like Wrestle Dream has 19. Wrestle Dream. They had the first Swerve in Hangman match, and they had Danielson in Sabre.
Christian Darby,
right?
At the Edge debut. I think there was something else on there too.
Right, like that was an awesome show.
FTR ladder match, like that show was awesome.
That's what I mean. 19.
So, like, are you saying it should not get votes, or
no?
It should get
no. I'm saying like this ain't no regular like ninth best show in a wrestling year.
Right.
Like in an average year, that might be that's gonna place you top 5. But like the other shit is like ridiculous, and the other shit is also AEW splitting votes. It's like being Lindell White when you got like in the Heisman vote when you got like Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush on your team. Sorry, Tono Talk. I know you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Sorry.
Worst major wrestling show. WWE Crown Jewel.
How many years in a row has a Saudi Arabia show won?
Good fucking lord. Worst major wrestling.
Not in a row, but it's won 3 of them at least. 1, 2, 3. No, 4. This is the 5th one.
Jesus. NWA Sam Hain, yeah. Number 3, AEW World's End. Number 4, WWE Fastlane. Fastlane was way worse. Triple H Triple Mania, NWA's 75th show. Number 7, WrestleMania Night 2.
There it is. But was that actually worse than SummerSlam? Or is it the platform?
Not. SummerSlam's like arguably the worst show of the year.
Right.
Like,
it's the platform of being WrestleMania is what gets it.
Yeah. 9 WWE Payback. Yeah, that was bad. All those American pay-per-views that WWE did or B-level pay-per-views that were like in America, they all fucking stunk.
Yeah. I see honorable mention. Destruction in Ryogoku. Isn't that where they did the evil rematch for the title? Or not rematch for the title shot?
I thought that was King of Pro Wrestling.
You're right. What was Destruction?
Look it up quickly. But yeah, I'll talk about SummerSlam.
All right.
Fucking SummerSlam. Like, when you get past Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, the rest of that show, you can throw in a bin. The awful Jey Uso, Roman Reigns main event, the Ronda versus Shayna martial arts match or whatever the fuck they did. I think was Liv Morgan like involved in that shit? Like somehow I don't know. She wasn't. I don't know. It was just a bad show. They went to Black Sabre Jr.'s hometown and disrespected him. Seth and Finn, it was alright, but it wasn't enough to save it. You know? Yeah, man. I did not like SummerSlam. I thought they had a chance to try to like do something there, and they just didn't. Best wrestling maneuver.
All right, Destruction in Ryogoku. The main event was Sonata versus Evil.
Sonata versus Evil. Well, look at that.
That shitty lumberjack match, and then you also had the Tama Tonga versus Finley for the Never. Yeah. I see why they got voted where it got voted. Yeah. Okay.
Best wrestling move: Will Ospreay's Hidden Blade. Love that move.
Yeah, but is it actually better than Stormbreaker?
I think it is. Stormbreaker like just looks funny. It doesn't actually look like it hurts. Like you just get spun around a little bit, then you fall. But
yeah, but best wrestling maneuver mostly is like, does it look cool? Then does it hurt? Right?
I think the Hidden Blade looks cool because he'll hit the normal one. He'll hit the one that's like going the wrong way or whatever. I love the Hidden Blade.
Okay.
Like I think.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I like it, but it's. I don't know, like, cause it's weird because like I look at One Wing Angel, I'm like, yeah, the V Trigger is a better move than the One Wing Angel. Are you kidding me? And then like for Hidden Blade and Stormbreaker, I think is like the opposite. Like I think you hit with that Stormbreaker, your ass is like it's actually a spectacular, or not spectacular, but like it's a really cool looking, unique move.
See, the only problem with giving Vikingo best move is like, what move do you narrow it down to?
Well, I guess for him is like it says a second rope step up 630. I mean that's a pretty cool move. That's a pretty cool fucking move. That's a lot cooler than that's cooler than even a Stormbreaker.
Yeah. Got the buckshot on here.
Yep.
The Rainmaker got on this thing. How? They got Swerve, an honorable mention, JML driver.
Yeah.
I like the JML driver, but I like the kick more. The house call.
I think the kick is more of a... I think the JML driver is more of his, like...
The finish.
Or they're both finishers in theory, but like that's his actual like like I hit you with the house call to then get you up and hit the JML driver to pin you for the title type of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's funny, like Mayu Iwatani, like they didn't know how to pronounce it. Like the diving future Ron is like it's a reverse Ron, but whatever. Like I know what you mean.
Most disgusting promotional tactic.
Oh boy,
let's get it popping. WWE enabling Vince McMahon and him being back in power. TKO keeping him in a position of power. 2. WWE continued relationship with Saudi Arabia. 3. NWA cocaine spot on pay-per-view. 4. Power slap continuing on after Dana White slapped his wife. 5. AEW signing Ric Flair. 6. AEW Juice Robinson uses roll quarters after the Hamas terrorist attacks and doing an anti-Semitic angle. 7, TKO ignoring Vince McMahon and Dana White's transgressions.
Split votes.
8, Colby Covington using the death of Leon Edwards' father to promote a fight. 9, WWE hiring CM Punk.
What?
10, Sean Strickland openly homophobic comments with no repercussions from UFC or TKO. 6, honorable mention, Adam Page drinking Swerve Strickland's blood.
That's not a promotional tag. That's just some shit that happened. And like, same thing for WWE hiring CM Punk. Why would that be a disgusting promotional tactic? I don't
know. What is funny?
That both of those is like you mad?
That's funny. I saw that shit. I was screaming. I was like, who did this? More importantly, who did this? And then who are the other 13 people that did this?
Right.
There was 14 of y'all that all came up with this.
God damn, like the elite has to be in your username on Twitter.
Yes, absolutely.
Take it down a notch. Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know how you vote for anything but Vince on this. I'm sorry. It's just a lot more high stakes.
He finna look. This some shit adjacent is gonna win next year too.
Oh yeah. Vince running it up. They need to rename this shit the Vince McMahon most disgusting promotional tactic, or the WWE most disgusting promotional tactic award. Either way.
See, now you trying to get Meltzer in more trouble than he already is in with them people that don't like him because of these awards. You trying to run it up?
It doesn't matter. They were somewhat successful in these awards still, and they didn't know how to handle it. They were like, all they wanted to do was laugh at Tony Khan. I was like, you didn't want to celebrate yourself at all? No.
Nah.
All right.
Yeah.
Worst television show. Number 1, NWA Power. I don't even know who's fucking voting for this. Like, because it's like, yo, these people, you have to pay a paywall to do that. So you had to buy NWA and then be like, yeah, I also have an Observer subscription, so I'm going to run it up.
Yeah.
2, WWE Raw. 3, NXT. 4,
with
Power Slap.
With all that great character development.
Yeah, the great character development. Number 4, Power Slap. I resent that. I love Power Slap.
Power Slap fucking suck, man. Stop it.
I don't care. I loved it. I thought it was stupid. Great competition.
Great competition. You know, like, bro,
Battle of Wills.
I never asked. I don't remember actually. Was it like the NFL like new overtime rules were like, if you knock someone out on the first slap, do you get a fair up to knock them out? If not, or you just lose.
It's like, yeah, you just lose.
So literally it's sudden death.
A sweep 1-0. It's over.
So how do you determine who goes first? Flip a coin?
I think they flip a coin. Yeah.
That's dumb.
And I think the deal is like, you win and then you ask, do you want to go first or do you want to?
Who the fuck's deferring? No.
First. You better go first.
Do you see the clip going around of Mahomes' face when he saw that Fred Warner said that they wanted the ball first in overtime?
Yes.
That's the same face you got to make when you be like when you lose a coin toss, you're like, fuck him, and like shut up. And he goes, nah, I'll defer. You gonna defer? I'm gonna knock you the fuck out and go home.
Brewhaven says Rich would have been a Just Bleed guy if he got into MMA. Yeah, when I be seeing MMA, I be like, get y'all ass up off the ground. I ain't trying to see y'all hug each other all day. Punch somebody. Put them hands up. You know, let's see them feet fly.
That's called kickboxing, Rich. That's called Muay Thai.
Yeah, you know,
just watch Muay Thai.
Look, I don't want no weight classes in UFC either. You know
what?
That's right.
You just want human cockfighting. Okay, I see.
Correct.
I see. Okay,
correct.
Cool.
I want my shit looking like UFC 1. You know.
Oh my. Let's move on.
I want niggas going in there with gis on. You know, I want a 400-pound nigga versus a 125-pound nigga. Like, what's up? You know, and you know that's what I want.
I don't.
Worst match of the year.
Hold on. Yep. Go ahead.
Number 1, Bray Wyatt versus L.A. Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
What was the name of that match? The Mountain Dew Dark, right?
Bro, it was Mountain Dew something.
Right.
Yes. This should be changed to the Bray Wyatt Memorial Award.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm ready.
The Pitch Black match.
The Pitch Black. That's right. The Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Okay. Yeah, man.
Tyrus versus EC3. Shane McMahon and Snoop Dogg versus The Miz. Baron Corbin versus Gable Steveson. Bro, that was awful. Like, awful.
Yeah, it was awful.
Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. I remember seeing it at the time. Like, yup, this is the worst match of the year contender. Number 6, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Another one. Number 7, Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. I remember that match was like, hold on, what a weird finish. It was like, you just like beating him on his face with like, I think it was a chain, if I'm not mistaken. And then they just ended the match. And I was like, that's weird. Here's your 2 stars. Like, number 8, Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy. The, what the fuck is that thing? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre match. I actually didn't see that match.
I didn't see it either. I just saw the red line like, this looks like it's fucking awful.
Julia Hart versus Abaddon.
Yeah, that match fucking sucked.
10, Adam Cole versus MJF, the All-In main event. Man.
This shouldn't be on there, but it's funny that it is. All right, can I get to it now?
By all means.
All right. So last year we lost Bray Wyatt. And normally human nature is when someone passes, regardless of how you feel about them in the public light, you omit things, you pull punches, you don't say how you felt before you found that person's no longer on the same realm as us. But not these fucking voters. They said, nah, man, this match was awful. It happened at the beginning of the year. Your brother came out there from the heavens and descended to drop an elbow on a crash pad onto somebody. He didn't even come close, and it was so bad that the camera cut can't even make it look like it came close. I think his brother got hurt. He may still be hurt. Get well soon, Bo. Yeah, man. One of the worst matches of all time to go along with his collection of some of the worst matches of all time. And here with you, I want to go through the catalog of Bray Wyatt and his history and his what do you call it? His treasured history and the Observer worst match of the year category. He first started and got his first one.
His assault in his on the record book.
Yeah, he first hit the record book kind of like Pat Mahomes. Within his first year in the company, or within the months of his first year in the company, he got his first one. He got the cage match with John Cena in 2014, right after WrestleMania 30, where he had a little kid talk with the voice that sounded like fucking Ole Anderson, R.I.P., another R.I.P. Then you get to 2017, and he has the maggots and bugs on the floor, on the projector on the mat at WrestleMania 34. Just horrendous. Or sorry, 33. I'm sorry, 33. Horrendous. Then you have 2019, you have the worst Hell in a Cell match of all time, The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins, where the match ends in no contest because Seth Rollins uses a sledgehammer to end the match after Bray Wyatt had used a bigger hammer throughout the entire match.
My personal pick for worst match of all time, that match.
And then you have the very next year he went back to back, kind of like Patrick Mahomes. He had The Fiend versus Braun Strowman, and I think was it the Swamp match where it ended where the Fiend or whatever, a gator had grabbed, or some type of creature had grabbed Braun Strowman and suffocated him in the bayou. So yeah, man, that's 5. That I don't know if that's a record. You know, there's been a lot of Undertaker and Kane matches that have fucking sucked over the decades, but that is a strong run for someone that was only, on the main roster from SummerSlam. First match was SummerSlam 2013 to, being off TV for a while with whatever, and then finishes on the way out, going out like that. So to commemorate Bray Wyatt and his 5 Worst Match of the Year trophies, I present to you I present to you I present to you a picture of Kobe Bryant with his 5 Larry O'Brien trophy that he won with the Lakers between 2000 and 2010. But instead of Kobe Bryant smiling, you have the Fiend mask over Bray Wyatt's face, over Kobe Bryant's face. Sorry for those that are not with us listening or watching for you to stream, but I am describing to you what is happening, and I'm sure this clip will be up, and I'm sure people will be very, very mad that I just detailed his prolific run of bad matches, especially post-death. But I'm not finna lie. Like, this dude had some of the worst matches of all time. He is very creative. He's very charismatic. But when it came for the time for the match is rarely ever matched. In fact, they're the opposite of match. They unmatched. And yeah, R.I.P. Bray Wyatt. Your legacy will live on forever. On the WWE, I'm sorry, not WWE Network, no, it doesn't exist anymore. On Peacock. On a tab.
If this show ends up canceled, it was worth it for this.
I don't know, I'll be canceled. I said he had bad matches. That was true when he's alive. Because he's dead, it doesn't mean it's not true anymore.
I'm with you. Bray Wyatt was a shining star when it came to this category over the years. And it, like, I couldn't think of a more fitting way to cap it off. Like, even when he's not here with us no more, he gave us one for the road. Right. We just say that.
This reminds me of, like, after Sean Taylor got shot and killed in his house, like, he still got all pro, like, posthumously. This is kind of the same thing where it's like they had a banger of a season, of a year, of a match, and on the way out it will be commemorated, but he's not there to accept the award.
It's like the reverse Kazuchika Okada. Like, he has 5 match of the years, and then Wyatt has 5 worst match of the years.
That's crazy. I never really thought about that. Bray Wyatt, especially given the age, is this tragic? Well, obviously already tragic. It's even more tragic. Like, we could have seen even worse matches over the years. Like, he didn't have a chance to top his prior work. It's really a shame.
He was cut off in his prime.
Right.
Who knows like where it was headed.
Right. They say a wrestler's prime is what, their late 30s? He was getting into it.
Like, he was already running up the rings early in the career. So, like, all he had to do was just keep adding on as he declined athletically.
Right. Obviously a different era. He could be able to extend his career in ways that, like, his predecessors, like The Undertaker and Kane.
Cinematic match. You look, he got a couple of these off of cinematic matches.
Right. Right. New, innovative, new ways, new mediums to do this. New genres of entertainment. Right? So yeah, like, I don't know how people really do this from time to time when you have just a great short run and it's tragically cut short. He had a real shot. There were people who were out here on the street saying he was the worst of all time.
At least either you can be remembered for being really great, or you can be remembered, like this. You got a choice.
No. He was still number 1.
Correct.
It was just a different. It just was a negative list.
It was literally like,
All right, let's move. Like, let's move.
Like the downward.
All right, let's move.
Worst promotion of the year, NWA. I don't even know who watches this shit.
I'll take their word for it.
Let's go to worst feud of the year, MJF versus the Devil.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Pure trash television.
Yeah.
2, Outcast versus AEW Originals, which we saw 900 weeks in a row. Tyrus versus EZ3. Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. This ain't fair. Keith Lee versus Swerve Strickland. They didn't even have a match.
I think that's a part of it. It's like, why? How many times we're going to do this and not do it?
7, Evil versus Sonata. Something we've seen a million times and it's sucked every single one of them.
Well, this was the worst.
Bully Ray versus Scott D'Amore.
I don't remember that even happened.
That is sick. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Yikes. That lasted more than one pay-per-view cycle. Miro versus CJ Perry. Honorable mention, MJF versus Jay White. Callis family versus Omega and Jericho. It's all about the devil, baby. That's what this is for me.
Yeah.
Everything else is small potatoes, seemingly. Don't let MJF book a thing. The Best Booker Award won Paul Levesque, despite having no Best Show, Weekly Show, only 1 of 10 spots in Show of the Year. 2, Tony Khan. 3, Juan Manuel. 4, Shuji Ishikawa. 5, Rossi Ogawa. 6, Gato. 7, Shawn Michaels. Everything under that doesn't matter.
Why is Gato? Why was Gato 6?
Gato was 6th because it was kind of an all-time inept year. Should he be even lower?
Why did he? How did he get 45 votes?
That must be the last of the last holdouts of like New Japan is still in the golden era.
I mean, the stuff that we were talking about, right? Like, he had a 7-month transitional champion. Like, he built, like, he had a plethora of young guys that came in and then decided to not put a single one of them over. He had his 2 best in-ring performers leaving or seemingly out the door. He did not have them put the guys over on the way out.
Well, he did use one of them to put over David Finlay.
Okay, fair enough.
Sick.
But that also you are correct. That also furthers my point of the ineptitude. Yeah, man, he's cooked. And honestly, and I'll get to that point that I mentioned earlier. Honestly, you can say that he's been cooked ever since he said, "Hey, let's extend the roll call 4 fucking years. We can get 4 more years out of saying motherfucker's name at the end of the dome." And then it happened. Don't we all feel great right now at this point? Like, after Naito beat Sonata over the weekend, he did the roll call. And I was like, awesome. That's when it dawned on me, like, he delayed it 4 years for this moment. For him to do it at every show now. After beating Sonata. And then I'm assuming as a true Genesis, he'll do it after he beats fucking Ren Reader or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? What are we doing? What have we done to this once great promotion?
That was awful, bro.
He's fucking cooked. And also this year, he helped fuck up Stardom, and he helped fuck up AEW. Thanks.
Tony Khan, first year, he doesn't win it since 2019.
Right.
Mixed bag. I still think more good than bad.
Yes.
But yeah, this almost feels like they should have just rolled this shit over and made next year's worth too. Nothing Paul Levesque does booking wise impresses me. He's still carrying Vince's shit over. I feel like everything when it came to when I reviewed the 2024 Royal Rumble this year, everything felt less over than it did last year.
What I would say is, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but like, trophy got to be handed out. Sometimes it's a 5-pound trophy instead of a 50-pound trophy.
Yeah, this is a baby trophy.
And look, like, I mean, let's not make any mistake. Like, Triple H has won this before, and like that was 2016 he won Ryan Ward.
15.
2015 NXT He did a better job booking that than this. From what I saw of it all year. Yeah.
Rossi Ogawa. Should he even be on here, James? Should it be someone else because they were really booking the promotion?
Well, he had most of the control. He just got overruled in points, and he's out. So whatever. With that being said, still had a better year than Gato.
Sickos are really voting for Shawn Michaels on this thing. I don't know, man. All I want to know is what does your IG algorithm look like?
Shawn? Oh.
No, not him. The people that's voting for him.
I mean, it looks like Shawn's. The fuck you mean?
Promoter of the year, Nick Khan. Even though I don't know if he's necessarily a promoter, but
you sign the deals, you promote it. Whatever. I get what you mean, technically. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
not technically a promoter.
Know.
You're right.
Yeah.
It should be Triple H should be on there. Whatever.
2 Tony Khan, 3 Dana White. Yeah.
No idea who 4 is. Maybe it's CMLL. I don't know. Maybe it's Triple A. I don't think it's Triple A.
Let's go best and worst.
Was there a fight promotion that blew up that I have no idea who Chavo is. I have no idea who that is. I have to look that up. I have to do that now. I'm just out of curiosity.
Let's go best and worst gimmick. Let's do these both in one shot. Best gimmick, number 1, Tony Storm. Worst gimmick, number 1, The Devil.
Tony didn't double up for both?
She actually finished 3rd in worst gimmick.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. She's the only one that's done very out there character work. Also, James, I'm not seeing best gimmick like all the character work and shit. Like I don't see anyone from NXT on here.
Yeah.
So what the fuck was Dave talking about?
All right. So Chavo is CMLL.
Okay. I would love for Dave to describe people's gimmicks. He just has like their name, but I would love to hear like what he thinks like their gimmick is. Like, what is Cody Rhodes' gimmick? Like, flag loving nepotism case. Like, I don't know. I think you're muted, James. Shocked the Brochachos didn't do better. I thought they might do better, but maybe they had such a bad taste in people's mouths by the end of it. People were like, absolutely not. Worst gimmick, the Devil, no question. I think the Devil is quite frankly just the lowest of the low. We're going to look back on that, and I think that's going to go down as like... So like in the annals of the whodunits and mystery angles, like there's like the Black Scorpion, there's It Was Me, Austin, and there's the Aces and Eights, and here's the Devil. Like all flavors of trash, pick one. Oh man, Carney GOP candidate Cody Rhodes, my God. That's funny. Yeah, but there's a pro wrestling book, Last World Champion. I think that is about Ric Flair. Best pro wrestling documentary, Chris and Tammy. That's Chris Candido and Sonny, Dark Side of the Ring. Yeah, but those are the Wrestling Observer Awards. James, you are muted. James is muted, everybody. So while we're here, get your merch. Donate to the show. Like the show. Rate the show. 5 stars. Absolutely. And, keep doing y'all thing out here. Nope. James is still muted on this thing. I heard something.
Yeah, we're good. pressed something on accident, a wire went loose, and then like it muted you here, and then it's like it stopped recording on my end. So like when we get done recording, I have to like take the audio, rip the audio off of the stream, and then slice it in. Huge pain in the ass. Yeah.
Well, what would you like to talk about next? That one ran a little long. We're a little bit over on time.
Little long. We went 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you may as well just wrap it up. We're at 12. It's 12:22 right now.
Let's do a quick rundown of Revolution.
Do you just want to do a second show later in the week?
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
That is not a bad idea. So come back later this week. We will do AEW Revolution in depth after we see the go home show. And maybe I'll try to find a guest. Oh, also New Japan Pro Wrestling. What the fuck are y'all doing?
I mean, fuck. No, we still got time to talk about that later in the week. They ain't got nothing else going on.
We'll get to them.
Yeah, we'll get to them.
Don't worry.
You did not escape. Yeah, you did not escape. To paraphrase Kenny Omega, no.
I think Keepin It Strong Style may be back a day, but they're gonna get them, and then we'll be back to get them.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
How that old Soulja Boy song go? Shoot, let me get them. Shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks for listening, y'all. If you are watching, if you're watching from the stream, go to our podcast, go to our description, and go to the Red Circle link and donate there. And listen to other shows on the network. Never mind. Just listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style. You have, I almost said Rick and Clive, but no, it's not Rick and Clive. You have Tunnel Talk. You have the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. You have Imp's WWE Adventures. You have All Things Elite. Did I say Keepin It Strong Style already? If I didn't, Keepin It Strong Style. And you have Russell. And you also have Russell Things with Chris Plant. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.